Mr. Mercedes, the first in the Bill Hodges trilogy, or Mr. Mercedes trilogy. Let me tell you, I've been wanting to read this trilogy of books for a long time. I listened to the audiobooks when these books were first published, and if I remember correctly, the last one has a bit of tomfoolery going on, a couple of shenanigans, but I'll talk about it in that review. Mr. Mercedes, I'm just gonna get right into it. You know, because I finished the trilogy, right? So I know certain things beyond this first book. We have to talk about Brady Hartsfield, okay? Because something doesn't add up. Something just doesn't make any sense to me as to why he does the things that he does. Because as you read along, something is revealed to you about this character, about this antagonist, this villain, which is that Brady Hartsfield isn't really that intelligent as we are led to believe. Brady Hartsfield isn't a master manipulator. He isn't a mastermind. He isn't anything that we kind of expect from such a villain, okay? Brady Hartsfield is a bit pathetic, in my view, which is, I guess, makes sense, but it's still, when it comes to fiction, right? When it comes to fiction, I don't know about you, but when it comes to villains in fiction, I want my main antagonist to be something special. I want my antagonist to be on a level beyond the average in some way, right? And at first glance in this book, you might assume that Brady Hartsfield, Mr. Mercedes, is hiding his true potential. That perhaps Mr. Mercedes hasn't yet reached, a certain maturity of evil. But this is, of course, senseless speculation, because once you strip away all of the veneer surrounding Brady Hartsfield, you realize quite quickly that he isn't really anything special at all. And I'm somebody who wants to figure things out, right? So I kept on asking myself, first of all, why did he do, the act in this first book when he stole the Mercedes van and just drove over all of those poor people who were searching for jobs during the economic crisis at the job, place. So I kept on asking myself why he did what he did. What was the reason? Why? What is the source, the origins of this hatred and this rage that he feels? Because if you really look at it, Brady Hartsfield has anger problems, he has hatred, and you could say that a lot of it stems from, his family life, which is, let me tell you, his family life is peculiar, if nothing else, right? His daddy, he just bounced when he was a little kid. He had a little brother who suffered an accident and became a bit mentally impaired, and he and his mother kind of killed, his little brother to get rid of him because he was a nuisance, because he had problems. He was a bit handicapped. So they got rid of him. And of course, then we have Brady Hartsfield's lovely, exquisite, sublime mother, which is, I would say, Brady's mother is the source of a lot of his issues, but not entirely to blame for what he becomes and what he does in the end. Okay? Now, I haven't read all of Stephen King's books, but I have read my fair share, right? And this, and I'm speaking generally here, not just Stephen King, but I'm getting tired of this. It's always the mother who has some sort of influence on their young boys, and they become, serial killers, and they become rageaholics, and they become maniacs and psychopaths. And in this book, there is no exception to the rule. His mother she has problems. I don't really know how to classify her or diagnose her. She's just off to me. She's odd. She's peculiar, strange, right? This reminds me of Carrie, where Carrie's mama, she was nuts too. Of course, she was a religious nutcase, but still, it's still the mother who has influence. The father isn't there, and I'm just, if you keep on reading beyond this book, you still find a couple of things that still are a bit ambiguous and a bit unexplored and inexplicable when it comes to Brady Hartsfield and his relationship with his mama. Because he has the hots for his mama for some reason. I don't know why. I don't really understand what leads to something like this, why such an outcome happens, right? Because the father left and Brady was a little boy, and for some reason he imagined that he was the man of the house, and he was, now his mama's boyfriend or something. I don't know. Strange, right? How this series of events happened, to me, is inexplicable, and it is odd as hell. And what really is troubling, what really bothers me, is that his mama kind of encouraged him in this position somehow. Like, she did some strange things to him when he was a little boy, right? In the bathroom, she was doing stuff, and she let Brady sleep in her bed with her, and she let Brady feel her up, but she didn't let Brady go all the way. Peculiar, absolutely peculiar. His mama is a strange case, right? And again, this reminds me of another Stephen King book, is it Needful Things? Which one was it? No, it was the Dead Zone, where the Dodd character, who turns out to be a serial killer, his mama was just as strange. Like, Stephen King has a pattern when it comes to these women, these mothers who influence their, progeny to become just as strange as they are, right? So, when it comes to Brady Hartsfield, obviously his mama had something to do with the monster that he became, but the problem is, and I keep going back, I keep hearkening back to Brady Hartsfield and his evil deeds. Let me tell you, what he did was just deplorable, absolutely, no denying it. But there is no real reason as to why he ran over those people with the Mercedes. And if you keep on reading beyond this book, you find out that there was no real plan per se. There was no real premeditation. Things just happened. The circumstances and the conditions just aligned in a perfect way for this lunatic to commit what he committed, and it was just random. It was just unprompted. It wasn't something that was planned for a long time. He just stole the Mercedes and drove around and saw those people, and on that moment he decided to charge at them at full speed and to kill as many people as possible. And it's just, I understand it's this phenomenon of being a spree killer or whatever you want to call it, but it's just so, like, he's not interesting beyond the influence of his equally strange mother. There isn't really anything interesting about Brady Hartsfield, not really. And And we have to give credit to Stephen King because he bamboozles us at the beginning when he introduces Brady Hartsfield as the Mercedes killer. Brady has a basement, and in this basement he has his like control center, and he has laptops everywhere, and he has all sorts of gizmos, and we are led to believe that he is this tech genius, this IT messiah. He's just balls deep. He's a magician. He's a sorcerer when it comes to technology, and you could say that he is above average in terms of being a hacker or an IT guy, but that's pretty much it. His inventions, the remotes, they're cute, but nothing special. And I just love the fact how pathetic and what a loser this guy is. He keeps on having these monologues when he was just, oh, you see, he was an inventor. He had potential, and he had this idea of inventing this wireless vacuum cleaner, and he was just so overjoyed because he was a genius. And then he saw in a store a Roomba, and he was just like, oh my God, somebody stole my idea. Somebody, an early bird got the early worm, and he was just so pissed because he thinks that he is just this genius, and his inventions are just so out of this world, extraordinary. It isn't true. And what I wanted to say is that Stephen King bamboozles us into thinking that this guy in the beginning is just this sinister creature that plots in the shadows, in the darkness, that he spreads his webs of mayhem from the darkness, from his control center, and he's just some dude, and he has laptops in his basement, the control center, and you think, oh my God, this guy, he hacked the Pentagon, he hacked bank accounts, he hacked this. No. All of those laptops, with maybe the exception of one, are just for show, are just props. They're not really anything special. He is just living a fantasy of stroking his ego. There's nothing. He's not dangerous. He's not a threat. He is not lethal or fatal in the sense like his competence, his skill set, his faculties. He's not a genius. He's not a prodigy of any kind. He's just some loser dude who's living in his mother's basement, and he thinks that he is out of this world amazing because, I don't know, because he hacked, because he's a hacker or whatever. It's just after the illusion dissipates about Brady Hartsfield, you just realize that he isn't somebody to be, aware of or alarmed. He's not, you shouldn't be cautious around him. Not really, right? Because he is not a schemer, right? He is not playing 5D chess. He does not have a supernatural IQ. He is not 5 steps ahead of anybody. He thinks he is. Stephen King in the beginning tries to fool us into believing that Brady Hartsfield is this, evil, sinister mastermind that works behind the shadows and plots and conspires. Absolutely not. And this is the problem that I wanted to get at. After the veil, the illusion goes away, it's not interesting. Like, he's lame. Every time I read about Brady Hartsfield in this book or the other two, I'm just like, okay, bro, let's move on. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this lame-o, of this pathetic loser. Okay, and this is the problem. From a writing perspective, from a storytelling perspective, the problem is that if your main antagonist, the villain, is lame as hell, why should I be invested? Why should I care? Right? This is the main issue, that I don't care about Brady Hartsfield in any way, shape, or form. Yes, the situation with his mother is absolutely peculiar as hell, strange as fuck. But after that, I'm just like, bro, can we move on from this loser? Can we talk about something else? Because here, let me give you an example. Even Bill Kermit Hodges is way more interesting than this loser. Even Holly Gibney is more interesting in her own way than Brady Hartsfield. Okay? I mean, come on. Right? And let me tell you, after this book, Brady Hartsfield doesn't get any better in the other two. Okay? And to prove yet again just what a hopeless loser he is, he is not afraid. He is not of a higher caliber of a villain. He just tries to mess with Bill Hodges, who is suicidal, and he has this grudge against Bill Hodges for some reason. I guess he wanted to influence Bill Hodges into committing suicide because Bill Hodges was a detective and he retired. And usually when detectives and police officers retire, there is a high possibility that they will check out, right? So Bill Hodges, instead of checking out of this world, out of this world, like Mr. Mercedes wanted, Bill Hodges gets inflamed. He gets passionate, and he wants to capture this guy once and for all. And Mr. Mercedes, Brady Hartsfield, is just so invested and attached and immersed in his petty grudge with Bill Hodges. And this continues on in the other two books, and I'm just like, this is the lamest thing possible. This guy is such a lame-o. Okay? This is how you classify Brady Hartsfield as a villain. Petty and pathetic. He is the lowest of the low. You think at the beginning that this guy has a high IQ, that he is perceptive, and he is just this mastermind, like, I don't know, let's say Light Yagami from Death Note. You think that they are on par. You think that this guy, he's such a smooth criminal. You think this guy is a master manipulator. He's just a wolf in sheep's clothing, and he is not. He is not on par with somebody like Light Yagami from Death Note, for example, or Hannibal Lecter, or even Dexter Morgan. In terms of intellectual prowess, he is low. He is petty and pathetic. And this lame grudge he has with Bill Hodges, this animosity, this hostility, continues on in the other two books, and it doesn't get any better. He can't even, like, it's inexplicable why he has this grudge with Bill Hodges in particular. Is just proves to me that the man is an imbecile. Brady Hartsfield is an imbecile because of this petty grudge he has with some lame detective who is retired, and because of this lame-ass grudge, spoiler, because of this grudge is what leads to his downfall with some retired cop. I'm just like, Brady Hartsfield, get out of here. You're not important. You're not dangerous. Brady Hartsfield is not poignant. He is not intense. He is not even charming in any way. He's just, he deserves exactly what he gets. And nobody cares. I, as a reader, do not care what happens to this guy. Even when bad things happen to him, I don't care. I just don't want to read about him. That's how pathetic and petty he is, right? And another thing, right? Like, I've watched the TV show of Mr. Mercedes, right? And, you gotta love the fact that the people who made the TV show, they tried their hardest to make all of these secondary characters important in some way. They tried to develop all of these secondary characters because Stephen King barely does anything with these characters, folks. And God bless the people who are behind the TV show because they tried. And they strived to give all of these secondary characters some sort of humanity, some sort of free dimensionality. Right? Because in the book, in Mr. Mercedes, the book, in the novel, They're barely people at all. Barely one dimensional. Jerome, he's barely there. He's just like the kid who mows Bill Hodges' lawn, and he is the tech guy, kind of, right? And then we have Holly Gibney, who's, she's interesting and charming in a way because of her autistic, ADHD, whatever, right? But she's barely there. She's just like the IT weirdo, and that's about it. And then we have Bill Hodges' partner, Pete Huntley, I think, and he's just the partner, the cop partner, the old friend, and that's about it. And even Bill Hodges himself are protagonists. I like him, but Stephen King doesn't really do a lot with him. After he gets over his melancholy and his depression in the beginning of the book, once his suicidal tendencies go away because Brady Hartsfield just has to poke fun at him and just has to, after that, even Bill Hodges becomes I don't know, a one-dimensional character. Not really, but we do not explore him as we should. Stephen King, yet again, doesn't do a lot without protagonist. Our protagonist, Bill Hodges, he is a old school detective, and he is stuck in his ways, and he will solve this case in his own way. And I have to say, after reading the 3 books, it doesn't really change a lot. We find out that Bill Hodges was a bit of an alcoholic back in the day, maybe because of what he saw, in the line of duty as a detective. He saw some stuff, and he was kind of a drinker. And, because of this, it affected his marriage. He got divorced, and he has a daughter. And his daughter, I think it's Allison or Alice, Stephen King keeps on mentioning his daughter here and there. And I guess it is implied that Bill Hodges doesn't have the best relationship with his wife and with his daughter, who I guess they're estranged. But we don't really explore this in detail. And I think that is a great loss because in comparison to Brady Hartsfield, I'm actually invested and interested in Bill Hodges and his life. I want to know more about his past. I want to understand why he is so estranged with his family, right? We need to go deeper, but Stephen King never does so. And it is a shame, right? And again, by the end, Brady Hartsfield, because everything goes awry, everything just falls apart. He's so lame. He wants to poison Jerome's dog because, I don't know, he's racist for the sake of racism. Even that isn't explored at all. His mother was racist, so Brady Hartsfield is racist as well. And just because, right? But Brady Hartsfield, he tries to poison Jerome's dog, doesn't work out. His mother finds the poisoned meat and eats it, and she dies. And Brady goes bananas, and he decides to sneak into a concert and just cause mayhem with explosions. And even that doesn't work out because, of course, our heroes stop him. And let me tell you, this is just my preference, my experience with the novel. I don't feel any tension. I'm not, at the edge of my seat. I don't care what happens. I don't care what Brady does. Even if he succeeded at the concert, and even if he had a lot of casualties, I still didn't care. Because to me, he is a little worm, a little maggot. He is inconsequential to me, right? And even at the end, when he gets his head caved in by Holly Gibney, and he basically becomes a vegetable in the hospital, I am so indifferent to this guy that I don't care what happens to him. at the end, I'm not cheering that he got his ass beat by Holly Gibney, because he's nothing. He's a worm. I don't care. Right? It's a damn shame. I wish that Stephen King would have done a better job at portraying why Brady is just such a lunatic, such a maniac. He's just evil for the sake of evil. He is just a hateful person for the sake of being hateful. And we never explore anything in depth, in detail. I want to know exactly why he does the things that he just does it because, well, I don't know, he wants to be famous for some reason. He wants to be famous. He wants to be remembered. And this, and this is another spoiler, but even in the other books, he keeps mentioning this, repeating it time and time again, that he wants to have so many casualties that so he can be remembered with the other evil people of history, right? This is his main goal. And this guy is so stupid, he doesn't realize that this thing, no matter what he does, no matter what tragedy he commits, he doesn't understand. He doesn't realize that he will be forgotten in about a week or two. He will be the meme of the day, and that's it. He doesn't understand how things work. Pretty much, all of the tragedies of the world are doomed to be forgotten eventually. Even the major ones are being forgotten. And this guy thinks he's gonna be, immortalized in history as a bad, evil guy because he blew up a concert? Come on, bro. Come on. Okay? And one last criticism. Unfortunately, because this is a crime novel, thriller, detective story, there is a lot of just genuine, bona fide investigations, and it becomes a bit tedious. They're trying to figure out how Mr. Mercedes stole this car. They want to know if the car was left. If the key was left in the car by Mrs. Trelawney, and it's such a hassle, it's such a chore, this investigation. It runs for hundreds of pages. They can't figure it out how Brady managed to unlock the car and steal it, and it's just such a chore, right? It's just such a chore to read. Okay, I could have done with less police work and less investigations and less research. Okay, but this was Mr. Mercedes. Unfortunately, I wasn't as hype as I was when this book was first released. When this book was first released, I listened to the audiobook and I was enamored. I was bewitched. But not this time. This time around, I all my expectations were disappointed. It is what it is, right? But that's about it. If you enjoy this content, if you want to support your boy, I got a few books on Amazon. The link will be down below. If the link does not work, you can search my name, Griffith Samsara. Thanks for watching. Keep on reading good books. See ya.